Have you ever felt like life keeps testing your limits? Hours stuck in traffic, a boss who explodes for no reason, or a personal crisis that makes you want to give up? The world feels more chaotic every day, and the harder you try to control it, the more everything slips through your fingers. But what if I told you that true peace doesn't come from changing your circumstances, but from mastering yourself? That's the power of Stoicism, the ancient philosophy that has helped people stay calm and rational through every storm for thousands of years. If you've ever felt exhausted trying to control life, comment 1, and let's explore 8 lessons that will completely change the way you face. Lesson 1, embrace what you can control. Some days feel like you're drifting in a raging current, trying to control everything, only to watch it spin out of reach. A single comment ruins your day. A small setback shakes your whole mood. You want peace, but your mind is a storm. The problem isn't that the world is too harsh, it's that we forget a simple truth. We can't control everything. This is the foundation of Stoicism. Embrace what you can control. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." Obvious, yes, but look closely at your life. Most of your hurt, worry, and anger come from trying to hold on to what isn't yours to hold. You want people to understand you. You want the world to be fair. You want success to arrive on schedule. But the truth is, no one owes us that. The world doesn't turn according to our wishes. It runs on its own laws. Imagine you're an archer. You can train hard, steady your breath, draw the bow, and aim with care. But once the arrow leaves your fingers, the wind, the distance, the movement of the target, these are not in your control. Your job is to do your part well, then release the result. When you try to control the uncontrollable, you hand your peace to chance. Modern life hurts because we try to manage everything: work, other people's emotions, the future, money, our image. We're told to control more to succeed, but no one teaches us when to let go. In trying to master the world, we lose ourselves. We live in tension, fear, and constant failure, not because life is cruel, but because we refuse to accept our limits. Stoicism doesn't teach surrender. It teaches clarity. What you can control, your attitude, your response, your actions. What you cannot, outcomes, other people's reactions, the things beyond your reach. Focus on the first and you become a creator. Cling to the second and you become a victim. You can't control the weather, but you can choose how you carry yourself in the rain. You can't control others, but you can choose your words and your tone. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you meet it. In the instant you choose a response instead of a reflex, you reclaim your freedom. Look back at your life. How many times did you suffer trying to change the unchangeable? How many nights were lost to fears about things you couldn't control? How often did you overlook the peace within reach because you were chasing what was beyond it? Acceptance doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It frees your energy for what matters instead of wasting it in struggle. Life stops being a battlefield and becomes a path of self-mastery and calm. If you're tired of trying to control everything, pause, breathe, and ask, is this within my power? If yes, act. If not, let go and smile. Peace comes not when the world is quiet, but when you are. If you've burned out trying to control the world, comment 1 and take the first step toward mastering yourself. If you still believe you can control everything, comment 0 and let Stoicism show you otherwise. Lesson 2, the power of acceptance. There's a dull kind of pain most people know well: resisting reality. After trying to control everything and failing, we start fighting what is, angry, bitter, denying, as if enough rage could change the facts. But the more we thrash, the deeper we sink. What we need in that moment isn't more force, it's acceptance. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who carried Rome on his shoulders, understood this. In the midst of wars, rebellions, illness, and loss, he stayed remarkably calm. In Meditations, he wrote, Accept whatever happens as if you had chosen it. That's not surrender. It's Stoic wisdom. Only by aligning with nature's flow do we find real peace. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It's the bravest act of the mind. Stop, observe, admit that some things are beyond you. When you stop resisting reality, you can finally see it clearly. From there, you act with judgment instead of fear or anger. Marcus compared life to a great river. The water can be gentle or violent, but it always moves forward. The wise don't try to dam the river. They learn to swim with it. The more you resist, the more you tire. The more you insist that life must go your way, the further you drift from the truth. Everything changes. Every setback, every loss, every wound is part of that rhythm. Acceptance doesn't make you smaller. It releases the strength trapped in resistance. When you stop asking, why me? You start asking, what can I learn from this? Growth begins where pain meets understanding. Every hardship carries a lesson, but only those who accept can hear it. Marcus didn't just write these words, he lived them. In his final years, with war and plague all around, he did not curse his fate. He observed, he recorded, he reminded himself, everything that comes is part of nature. His calm didn't mean he didn't suffer. It meant he knew suffering too would pass. We don't suffer because life is unfair. We suffer because we demand it be fair on our terms. We don't fear because the future is dark. We fear because we refuse to accept that it's unknowable. Our rage doesn't come from events, but from the belief that they shouldn't have happened. This resistance is the chain around the soul. When we accept, the heart softens. No more resentment, no more panic, just clarity. You see that everything has its place, even what you don't like. You stop asking why the waves come and start steering your boat through them. Peace doesn't come from a calm sea, but from no longer fearing the water. In a volatile world, this lesson is essential. Every day we face what we cannot control: people, news, markets, health, time. Only by accepting that all of it belongs to a larger flow do we become free. Stand still. Look honestly at what is. No resistance, no judgment. That quiet you feel inside is the foundation of the next lesson: mindfulness. Once you accept what you cannot change, you can return fully to the present, the only place peace ever lives. Lesson 3. Practice mindfulness. Many people don't live in the present. They hover between yesterday and tomorrow. They wake with regrets from the past and fears of the future, and drift through the day with their body here, but their mind elsewhere. They aren't living. They're waiting for things to settle, for a better future, for peace to arrive. But peace never comes to those running from the moment. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greats, reminds us, practice mindfulness. Only in this moment are you truly free. Seneca called it the art of presence, placing your full attention on what is happening now, rather than being dragged by what was or what might be. In his letters to Lucilius, he wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of our fears aren't caused by bad things happening, but by imagining they will. An untrained mind is a factory of anxiety, replaying the past, staging the future, and blinding us to the simple beauty of now. Stoicism isn't escape, it's engagement with clarity. Mindfulness, in Seneca's view, isn't hours of silent meditation. It's the ability to observe without judgment, to feel without being swept away. When you eat, just eat. When you speak, just speak. When you think, know that you're thinking. Simple but rare. Most of us are dragged by our own thoughts. Without mindfulness, the mind is a child playing with fire. It burns itself with worry and regret. With mindfulness, you step outside the stream of thought and watch. In that instant, when you become the observer rather than the captive, freedom begins. The person who lives in the present is strong, unbound by the past, unshaken by the future. You see this truth in small moments. Driving, your mind jumps to work. With family, you think about unread emails. At work, you dream of vacation. And so we lose the very minutes life gives us. Mindfulness doesn't just calm you, it helps you live deeply. A cup of tea, a morning breeze, a rain shower, each becomes a lesson in being here. Seneca said time is our most precious asset, yet we waste it worse than gold. We fear losing money but casually lose hours to worry. Without presence, we aren't truly alive, even as we breathe. To live in the Stoic sense is to be aware you are living. Mindfulness weakens the grip of emotion. When angry, if you can notice, I am angry, the anger loses half its power. When afraid, if you can see fear as a cloud passing by, it no longer drives you. Mindfulness creates space between emotion and action, and in that space lives wisdom. There, peace returns. Mindfulness doesn't detach you from the world. It makes you love it more. When you are present, everything is vivid. Breath, sound, light, even pain and joy. Everything simply is, and so are you. Nothing needs to change. You only need to notice. This is Seneca's gift. Live fully in each moment. It's the only place you can control, the only place you can accept, the ground of inner peace. After learning to control yourself, Epictetus, and accept reality, Marcus Aurelius, mindfulness is the bridge to inner freedom. Only when you are present do you truly live. Lesson 4. Cultivate resilience. Life rarely goes as planned. There will be days when everything breaks, plans collapse, people betray you, years of work turn to ash in a moment. You feel hurt, angry, hopeless. A question rises. Why me? Ask a Stoic and they'll smile. Why not you? Hardship isn't here to destroy you. It's here to train you. That's the fourth lesson. Cultivate resilience. Epictetus, once a slave, knew better than most that while you can't change everything, you can always choose your stance. People are not disturbed by things, and he said, but by their views about things. Simple words, life-changing power. While most people run from pain, Stoics treat it as a test of the soul, the furnace where true strength is forged. Think back to your hardest seasons, betrayal, loss, collapse. In the end, didn't those times make you stronger, clearer, deeper? Adversity is the forge that turns raw metal into steel. Our mistake is fleeing the fire. We blame, deny, and complain, forgetting that endurance is the muscle of the soul, and muscles grow only under stress. Epictetus likened life to sailing a rough sea. You can't command wind or waves, but you can learn the ropes. When storms come, a Stoic doesn't curse. They say, "Come, let me see what I'm made of." That is resilience, the power to stand upright in the gale. Modern comfort makes us fragile. A small inconvenience sparks a rant. A minor failure crushes us. Stoicism reminds us, we weren't born for ease, we were built to become strong. Every trial is a mirror. You can fall, or you can rise with calm eyes and a steady smile. Resilience doesn't mean no pain. It means standing back up while it still hurts. It means you can cry, but you do not quit. The strongest people are not those who never suffer. They are those who suffered fully and still chose peace. Pain is temporary. Character is permanent. Train this, and the magic happens. What used to break you becomes a passing wind. Criticism, loss, failure, they no longer rule you. Deep down you know, nothing outside can defeat a soul forged from within. You won't just survive storms, you'll learn to dance in the rain. If you're in a hard season, don't run, face it. It may be teaching you what success never could. Let every scar be proof that your strength is growing. Storms pass. Your resilience remains. If you've fallen and stood back up, if you've hurt and still smiled. Comment 1. You are living proof of the Stoic spirit. No one can defeat the person who rises after every fall. Lesson 5. Choose your response. Most of our pain doesn't come from events. It comes from our reactions to them. An insult, a failure, a loss are just facts. When we let emotion take over, when we lash out, we turn facts into tragedies. That's why Epictetus taught, it's not what happens that harms you, it's how you see it. So the fifth lesson, choose your response. We can't control people, weather, markets, or fate, but we can control our response. That's the line between being a slave to emotion and being the master of your life. Stoics don't kill emotion. They observe it and then respond with reason. They won't let anger, fear, or hurt drive their actions. Every response is a brushstroke on the canvas of your destiny. Imagine someone insults you. Your reflex is to fire back and defend your ego. But if you pause for a few seconds, you see clearly. Their words can't define you unless you let them. Choosing silence isn't weakness, it's strength. Choosing calm over impulse isn't losing, it's taking control. In that instant, you rise above instinct and become free. True freedom isn't money or power, it's self-command. The person who chooses their response isn't dragged by other people's moods or by applause and blame. They're like a helmsman in a storm. They can't calm the sea, but they can hold the wheel. That's enough to reach shore. When you don't govern your reactions, your emotions will govern you. A minute of rage can wreck a decade-long relationship. One rash decision can cost a priceless opportunity. But when you observe first and respond second, you move from reflex to responsibility. Stoic practice. Buy time before you act. When insulted, ask, is this worth my peace? In hardship, ask, what can I control here? Every question opens space between trigger and action. In that space, reason is born. Choosing your response is a skill, so train it. Start small. In traffic, when misunderstood, when plans change. Every time you choose calm over anger, understanding over judgment, you strengthen your mind. One day you'll notice. You're no longer a victim of your emotions. The world doesn't control you. You control yourself. You don't need to shout to prove strength. True strength lives in composure. Stoics don't win by defeating others. They win by never letting anyone defeat their inner world. If you regret past outbursts and want to stay steady in chaos, comment 1. Mastery begins the moment you pause, take a breath, and remember, you have a choice. Lesson 6. Restrain desires. Have you ever wondered why we feel not enough, no matter how much we have? You buy a new phone, and a few weeks later it feels outdated. You get a raise, and soon you want more. You achieve what you once dreamed of, and the joy fades fast. The truth is, it's not the world that makes us suffer. It's unrestrained desire that never lets us rest. Seneca, the great Stoic, warned us long ago, the rich person is not the one who has much, but the one who is content with little. Seneca saw a timeless paradox. The more we have, the more we fear losing it. Every time we crave something, money, status, approval, we trade our time and energy, but we also trade our inner freedom. To get it, we must worry. To keep it, we must fear. To rise above others, we must compete without end. We become trapped in a cycle of wanting, one that never stops, because desire by nature is limitless. Stoics don't condemn wealth or success. They simply warn, if you let them own your mind, you become their slave. Desire without control is a stormy sea. The tighter you grasp, the more it drags you under. Seneca teaches that the path to freedom is not piling up more, but letting go. When you stop chasing what you lack, you finally see the value of what you already have. Sadly, the modern world is built to feed desire. Every day we're surrounded by ads, social media, and images of dream lives. People compare, compete, and believe happiness lives in more. More money, more fans, more wins. But Seneca reminds us, no one is poor who can be satisfied with little. Contentment isn't about having less. It's about refusing to let desire run your life. Look closely. Almost every worry grows from a desire. Fear of losing your job because you crave security. Fear of being abandoned because you crave love that never changes. Fear of failure because you crave the approval of others. But here's what we forget. No one can steal the peace of a person who no longer depends on anything external. For Stoics, mastering desire is an art of living. It doesn't mean rejecting joy. It means knowing when to stop. It means enjoying without clinging, owning without being owned. You savor a good meal and feel grateful instead of demanding more. You live in a small home and cherish it instead of envying others. You are loved and you give thanks, not control. This temperance creates a steady happiness, not from the world, but from a calm heart within. Seneca wrote, "The wise person is happy with the present, does not regret the past, and does not fear the future." Why? Because they aren't pulled by desire into tomorrow or chained by longing to yesterday. They live fully in this moment, light, free, and complete. The world can be chaotic, but their heart is as still as a morning lake. When you grasp this lesson, you see that true happiness never lived in having more, but in the power to say enough. When a new desire appears, ask, is this truly necessary or just a trick of my appetite? Once you learn to govern desire, you don't just protect your peace, you protect yourself. This is the wealth Seneca urges us to pursue, a wealth no one can steal because it lives in the heart of a person who knows what is enough. Lesson 7. Live virtuously. There's a deep modern paradox. The more people succeed outwardly, the emptier many feel inside. They win fame, money, and admiration, yet at night, in their own silence, something essential is missing. Stoicism names it virtue. Without virtue, every achievement is a hollow shell. Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius all agree. Virtue is the only path to freedom and inner peace. For Stoics, virtue isn't vague or preachy. It's a compass for every thought and action. A good life isn't measured by what we own, but by who we become along the way. Wealth, status, power, they can't produce lasting happiness because they depend on things outside us. Virtue is different. No one can take it, and it can't be faked. Epictetus, once a slave, later a master of true freedom, said, "No one can harm me unless I harm myself." Virtue is the strongest fortress against chaos. Humiliated, poor, or grieving, the virtuous person keeps a clean heart and steady mind. Virtue doesn't depend on circumstances. It's a choice. Each day is a test. Did I live my values? Did I act with justice, wisdom, courage, and self-control? Seneca, who watched Rome drown in luxury and indulgence, saw many lose their souls chasing pleasure and power. "No one can live happily who does not live virtuously," he wrote. Virtue isn't blind sacrifice. It's action guided by reason and fairness. The virtuous person isn't led by greed, anger, or fear. They do what's right, not what's easy. That alignment between thought and deed builds inner strength that stands firm against every temptation. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher, emperor, brought virtue into leadership. He held ultimate power, yet in meditations he constantly reminded himself to be humble, just, and kind. "Be the sort of person whose goodness is like a fragrance, felt, not flaunted," he wrote. For Marcus, power exists to serve, not to dominate. Virtue is the foundation of responsibility, doing right even when no one is watching. Stoicism frames virtue as 4 pillars: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom is the light that shows right from wrong and sees things as they are. Courage is the strength to act for what's right, even when it hurts. Justice is treating others with respect, without bias or exploitation. Temperance is self-command, knowing when to stop before crossing reason's line. When these align, the soul reaches eudaimonia, true flourishing. Stoicism is great because it's practical. Virtue isn't a slogan. It shows up in how you live, staying calm in conflict, honest when no one will know, kind when misunderstood, fair when you hold power. Each small act is training for character. Virtue isn't learned by theory. It's formed by practice, repeated until it becomes second nature. In a world where almost anything can be bought, virtue is the one thing that can't be traded. It doesn't glitter like gold, but it shines from within, giving you confidence, stillness, and trustworthiness. When you live virtuously, you don't need applause. Your life itself proves what you believe. And that's the Stoic message to our age. Don't chase peace by conquering the world. Find it by conquering yourself. In the end, titles fade and trophies gather dust. Only virtue remains. It is the true measure of a life worth living. Lesson 8, the value of gratitude. There's a habit that quietly drains the joy out of life: comparing and complaining. We see others with more success, more happiness, and we forget what we already have. Day after day, we wake up to a list of not enoughs. Not enough money, time, love, or life. Surrounded by good things, we still feel poor. Seneca, who watched the emptiness of the wealthy up close, left us a simple, powerful reminder. No one is happy who is ungrateful. For Seneca, gratitude isn't just a nice virtue. It's the root of peace. He believed we don't suffer because we have too little. We suffer because we fail to see what we already have. Gratitude shifts our focus from lack to presence, from complaint to appreciation, from restlessness to calm. Nothing in the world changes, but everything looks different. He wrote, "The greatest gift is not what is given, but the grateful heart that receives." Gratitude makes things sufficient, even in hardship. Stoics don't look for joy in circumstances. They look for it in how they view circumstances. When life is good, they give thanks. When life is hard, they still give thanks. Because hardship is a chance to train the mind and build character. A Stoic doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but "What can I learn from this?" That mindset preserves serenity in any storm. Think about your own life. How many times have you complained about going to work instead of being thankful you're healthy enough to work? How many times have you cursed traffic and forgotten you have a place to go? How many times have you been irritated by loved ones and overlooked the gift that they're still here? We aren't unhappy because good things are missing. We're unhappy because we stop noticing them. Seneca called gratitude the source of lasting happiness because it frees us from the illusion that happiness lives in the future. Gratitude brings us back to the present, the only place life happens. When we focus on what is here, we stop chasing what isn't. A simple meal, a faithful friend, a quiet moment. When you're grateful, you don't need extravagance to feel rich. In a world of speed and pressure, gratitude is rarer than ever. We chase more so hard that we lose what is. The faster we run, the emptier we feel. Only when we pause, look around, and say thank you, do we see the everyday miracles we've been living in all along. Seneca also urges gratitude inward. Be grateful to yourself for showing up, for enduring, for refusing to quit. Be grateful for mistakes. They taught you. Be grateful for adversity. It strengthened you. When you can thank even the things that once hurt you, you've reached the highest level of peace, reconciliation with life itself. To Stoics, gratitude is a lamp in the inner dark. It doesn't erase sadness, but it gives sadness meaning. It doesn't undo loss, but it deepens our love for what remains. Lived with gratitude, every breath, every glance, every fleeting moment glows with value. Try it today, just once. Replace a complaint with thank you. Thank the morning you woke up to. Thank the person who stays, even when it's hard. Thank yourself for your daily effort. You'll see, the world won't change, but your heart will. In the end, as Seneca wrote, nothing makes a person so happy as gratitude. Gratitude is the shortest road to peace. If you've been forgetting to thank life, start now. Comment 1 as your promise to live with more gratitude from today forward. No one escapes the storm, but the difference isn't the storm, it's the sailor. From Epictetus to Seneca to Marcus Aurelius, the Stoics show a simple, powerful path. Control what you can, accept what you can't. Live in the present, stand strong in adversity, and choose your response with reason, not impulse. Understand this, and the world stops being your enemy. It becomes your teacher, shaping you, refining you, making you wiser every day. If you believe we can find peace in the middle of chaos, and you want to keep exploring the power of wisdom and self-mastery, subscribe now so I can bring you more deep, inspiring content.